content
Yeah,
and all of that, right?
pull up the agenda here. Just give me a moment. All right. Share my screen.
Is Jordan coming?
I have not received any uh, notice from him. So the want me to try to Discord him, chat him?
Yeah, let's also call out Yure and Chris.
Okay.
Oh, Jordan is here.
Oh, okay. I think they must have been back-to-back meetings. Okay. Hi, Jordan.
Hi everyone, sorry I'm a little late.
All right. So, do we have a quorum, or should we try to pull in other folks?
I think we're good.
Okay. All right. So today is features. So we'll be discussing features. I did change up the statuses a little bit based on our last conversation. So right now this is the one we were talking about. We're applying feedback, but then we would go to final review, and after the final review, we would accept the design, do some implementation planning, and then ready for roadmap. And from there, it goes to the roadmap grooming meeting, I believe. Correct? Does everybody agree with these statuses? Are you good with those?
Yep. Yeah, that's exactly it.
Okay. And then this week's breakout sessions are for features. So, which features would we like to cover in our session? We've been working on the schema build artifact, multi client, ecosystem support, testing framework.
I don't think we have.
Yeah, and yeah, just before we start, I would like to say that I have found out inconsistency in our toolchain, and I think we should address it before the alpha release.
Awesome. Please share.
Yeah, let me.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, so is it visible?
Mm,
Not for me.
Still loading for me.
yeah, it's perma loading. I think you should reset your sharing.
Maybe because there are many people.
Also, Niraj, it could help putting your quality settings very low if you're on a VPN.
I see it
There's
now.
also a better text readability setting in Discord that really helps.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
Yeah,
can
I
see it
see
is
now.
it.
it okay? Okay, so yeah, so let me talk about the background first. So yeah, when I was developing the concurrency plugin, we need to pass the input and output as bytes, right? As we discussed, and here, so result, which is the output, are bytes, and the inputs are also bytes, and task is basically or the invoke options, uh, invoke options for the particular invoke, and task result would be the result of the invocation. So that's the basic premise of the concurrency plugin. And while dealing with these bytes, I found out the issue with the message back. So yeah, let me discuss it. So when I find out this issue, where bytes, here bytes, uh, are the uint8 array in the plugin, and our the array buffer in the wasm. And yeah, once I have seen that, I naively changed the uint8 array into the array buffer and thought, yeah, this would work. But the issue with that was here. Mm. So, yeah, so basically it didn't work, and I then dig deep why isn't working, and I found out that the message pack by default takes the array buffer as the input and convert it into the bytes, while while decoding it takes the bytes as the input in the message pack format and converts this into the uint8 array. So it always convert the bytes into uint8 array, and it will convert from array buffer to bytes. And because of this creates the issue with our composability layer. And so here in plugin, it will always be uint8 array, while on the wrapper side it will always be array buffer. So this creates one issue while handling the bytes. Yeah, did I make it clear?
Yeah, it seems like what we want to do is for the plugin codegen, we want to move it back to uint8 array, correct?
But even if we do it, like there are many places where we need to change it. So here in the types, okay. Yeah, let's start with schema bind. So yeah, here I have created this invoke. So in invoke I need to update it to uint8 array, and I'll tell why. Because yeah, on the TypeScript side it is always uint8 array, or it should always be uint8 array. And in the plugin wrapper, or yeah, first in the buffer. So in buffer read bytes, so it was array buffer, and we need to like manually parse this array buffer into uint8 array here, so that when we use these read bytes here in these
And
imports. Yeah, so here in input we need to pass the uint8 array, because here during yeah, this won't create a problem with sub invoke or any one layer of yeah, parsing. But when we talk about the concurrent plugin, we are taking the input as bytes to the uh, for the task, which is also an input argument to the particular plugin. And yeah, when we have this kind of uh, configuration, it will always parse this input into the uint8 array. So the next input, so the wrapped task input is always uint8 array, and if we keep it array buffer, it will mismatch and won't work.
Okay, so it seems like this is yeah, this is just a patch fix that we need to add to the client layer, and also to the plugin codegen. Um, and yeah, I think this all makes sense.
but
Yeah.
isn't it better, Jordan, if like instead of patching it like this, because the problem here is related to how the message pack specification handles bytes. So couldn't we create, for example, a custom type extension with our own type extension header, uh, like as raw bytes or something like that, as bytes that should not be treated, so that we and we would use that if we want to explicitly use bytes instead of making sure that everywhere where we use bytes we need to manually transform them.
Um, I don't know why we would need to do that. Because MessagePack, supports bytes natively. And this is a JavaScript implementation specific issue. So like that documentation that Niraj had pulled up, that was from the like JavaScript MessagePack library. And so
Yes.
yeah, this is like a JavaScript specific thing.
Okay, got it. So this just happens with the implementation in JavaScript. Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, also like while patching it, yeah, I think it's not this straightforward, and yeah, maybe I don't know, maybe I have missed something, but yeah, even after patching it wasn't working as expected. So yeah, if we want to patch this, and that's the consensus here, then yeah, I'll keep working on this patch. But I wanted to make sure that we really want to go that route before I dig deep into this.
Yeah, and I think that the other thing, Niraj, is that we need to differentiate between the type of a property on the input. So, for example, um, you have the bytes argument for the function, um, and so that needs to be uint8 array. But if you're talking about the type for the return result as a whole, that could just be an array buffer, because yeah, like it doesn't need to get encoded or decoded. Like it is the blob. Um, and so yeah, like I think that there's a reason to use array buffer and to use uint8 array. Um, yeah, for different purposes.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah, I got that part. Like, yeah. So yeah, when we pass data into the WebAssembly, we are passing it as the array buffer, right? And yeah, there when we deserialize it, we will deserialize it from the array buffer, and when we serialize it, yeah, we will serialize into the array buffer from the WebAssembly side, right? Yeah, if I am correct.
Yep. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, yeah, I got that part. Yeah, so the issue is on the JavaScript, and yeah, when we deserialize out of the JavaScript, it is always uint8 error. So yeah, we need to handle that case.
Okay. So how about this? Can you create a branch with an easy reproduction step, like an easy way to reproduce this error? Maybe adding it as a test case. And if we have that test case to work off of, we can fix it where needed.
Yeah, yeah, sure. Okay, yeah, that sounds good.
All right, good. So back to the agenda.
Yeah, I think that sounds good.
All right. Okay, sorry, I only have a single monitor today. So, do we want to have breakout sessions for features on Friday or for standards? And by the schedule, it should be features. But we haven't had breakout sessions for features in the past.
Yeah, I think having a breakout session for features would be good.
Okay. So I think these are the three we've been working on. Which ones would we like to use on Friday? Do we want to work on a design spec for the integration testing framework?
Yeah, so has this one kind of been done already, Niraj? Since you've implemented the workflow system?
Yeah, so it has been done to some degree, but it's not robust. So I would say that it's early early version of what can be in the future.
So do we want
So
to
yeah,
continue on with
uh,
this future state at this time, or do we consider this one done for now and create a new one for a future state? That's
Hey,
all.
Niraj,
Yes, yeah.
are you there?
Mm, yeah. I think we should keep it as it is, and if there are any feature that we want to like incorporate before the alpha launch, then we should prioritize that in the Friday workshop. But if there isn't, then yeah, we should start working on this for the next release.
Okay, so it sounds like we should move the priority of it down from critical because we already have an implementation and this is something that's going to come after alpha, right?
Yes, totally.
Did you rename that release, or is it still alpha?
Yeah, so we haven't decided on a name yet.
Okay.
Um, yeah, I don't know how we will go about deciding on a name.
Right.
I feel like yeah, it's pretty much I don't know. Yeah.
It's a marketing
Does
choice.
anyone have thoughts? Yeah. Does anyone have thoughts on how we should finalize like a name for the release? Maybe throwing up like a poll on the forum or something with a few options or
Yeah, I like that. Or probably open a photo post that lasts, I don't know, 10 days. And then, yeah, create a poll there. It's the simplest, right? And everybody can give his opinion. Ha.
okay, cool. Yep.
Okay.
One other thing, Joe, I wanted to bring up is
Yeah.
that if you go back to the board really quick,
Sure.
um, I wanted to propose to the group that we figure out the restructuring the manifest files as well as the schema build artifact. So 31 and 33, we figure both of those out before alpha because I think that those are pretty important to have nailed down um, since they're kind of like the anchors to hinge ourselves off of going forward. So I don't know. What do you guys think? Should we really try to figure these out as like a good first step for alpha? Um,
I definitely think it would go a long way in reducing the amount of breaking changes post-alpha.
Okay, cool. And so I did post a design spec for this that was based on the work that me and Yuri did during a workshop a while ago. And I think that it's kind of almost ready for final review. And so I'm like I know that Yuri looked at it, and so I'm curious, Yuri, like what are your thoughts on it? Do you think that we need to spend some more time working through it to make some major changes to it, or do you think that it's like almost there?
Oh, I would need to get back into the context, but do you have a link so that I can maybe glance and refresh my memory?
Yeah, let me post it. But if you go into the toolchain chat, there's a link in the toolchain chat. Oh, and also I did add it to that issue. So Joe, if you actually scroll
Found it.
down in the comments, yeah, like all the way down. There we
This,
go.
this
Latest.
one.
Yeah, that one.
There you go.
Thank
If,
you.
so, if someone else would like to share their screen, they can, or I can navigate here. It's up to you.
Yeah, I'm on my phone right now. So if Yuri wants to, feel free.
To do what?
To
For
share.
sharing your screen.
Sure, I can do that. Should I go over it now?
Yeah, I think it might be cool to have you go over it, since I was the one who wrote this version.
Sure. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's weird because my Discord is loading. Okay, I think I'm good. Can you guys see the doc?
Yep.
Awesome. So the Polywrap project manifest refactor. I think this is just for project manifest. Oh no, it's also for package manifest. Okay. So we have a couple of different types of projects: interfaces, plugins, apps, and WASM wrappers. So for the interface, it would be Polywrap interface YAML. For the plugin YAML, app is app YAML, and WASM wrappers would be Polywrap WASM YAML, which I think all makes sense. The structure inside of the manifest. So for the interface, we have a project property, and then name, type, and version of the toolchain. So if we look at this one, you can see the release and the version. So there's like a release, a version in the release, I think. Of course, the project has a name, it has a type. This is the type is what used to be the language. So either interface or plugin TypeScript, app TypeScript, WASM assembly script. Project type is the new language. And then we have the schema, path to the schema. And I think this is a typo. It should be index TS or AS, since it was a assembly script, right, Jordan?
Yeah, that's a typo. Yep.
But that's the idea, the path to the module. And for the package manifest, which is the build artifact of the package manifest, which is the build artifact of the WASM project. Why is it keeps scrolling down? It's module that. What the hell? I won't click on it. It's module.wrap. We have a package instead of project. So project kind of becomes package. We have the name that gets copied over, the target, which is the toolchain, I think. And
Yeah,
there's no.
so the target could be different from the toolchain. So for example, you could potentially target a package for a later version or an earlier version of the
Hmm.
runtime. Yeah, that was kind of the idea there.
No, that's what this I think was referring to. Right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. Okay, we don't keep the type of the project. Like we don't know if this is a what if it's an assembly script wrapper or Rust wrapper. Which, yeah, I'm not sure if it matters or not.
Yeah, I figured that alongside this module.wrap file, we could potentially have other manifests that are like more Polywrap specific. So one of those could be a file that points you to the source code image, so that way if you wanted to look at the source code in a Docker image, you could see it and be able to easily see what language it is. And so the idea with this module.wrap is just to be the information that's necessary for a wrap client to, basically reliably run and inspect the module itself.
Okay, yeah, makes sense. And we have the type info, which is the schema that's turned into type info or transpiled in type info, and then added here straight to the manifest. Is what I got from that, right?
Yep, yeah.
I'm not sure, should this be type info or type, I don't know, dash info or something like is this one, but that's not that important. This package manifest will live beside the module WASM file, which makes perfect sense. Module wrap file is message byte encoded. Oh, so this is not a YAML or a JSON manifest like it looks here. It's a message pack encoded. And then the backwards compatibility, which Jordan just mentioned. Project extensions. So having a different manifest that you can refer to. So different project extensions, such as the built-in prime meta. So every project type, WASM interface plugin and app, have a set of supported extension types, like the following. And this is how we would specify them. So they're no longer specific properties in the manifest, but they're mentioned as extensions. So just a list of paths to the extension manifest.
I have a minor thought regarding that. Um, yeah, I don't know. I was wondering, we only support file right now, like a path, right? Um, yeah, I don't know. Wouldn't it be also make sense to allow to the user to also, like, if they wants to add the build configuration in the main manifest to do it? I don't know. I just thought this that the other day. Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, having like an inline manifest. Yeah, I thought about that too. I think that sounds good. But the only problem with that is that um, it requires that type to be added to the like main manifest type.
Jason schema.
Um, yeah. So when we add a new type of extension, we would need to modify like the root manifest type, which I don't think is a bad thing necessarily. But that was just one concern I thought of. But anyway.
This does seem like a more extensible approach because you can anyone can define project extensions, not just the Polywrap team.
Yeah, that makes sense. The only thing that, yeah, like if the user pass, I don't know, a manifest with a different name, like, yeah, how can we check? Well, with the build and infront meta name there. Yeah, basically my first thought is we're just setting a path, right? Like we're not saying explicitly, hey, this is a build path. No, it can be a meta or deploy. So yeah, that would probably add more.
Yeah, that's actually something that we had in the last document, but I forgot to add it here. Is inside of each of these extensions, they would have their own type string. So it would be like, type is, build, and then it would have like a version of like the build manifest that it is. Um, and so you would be able to inspect these extensions and see what type they are. Um, and if you can't support that type, then it would throw an error. And of course, in the future, we could allow people to, maybe add to the CLI, basically adding extension handlers or something like that, where, they can create their own extension types.
Okay, okay, that makes sense.
Is there, might be a stupid question, but is there a reason why we specify these extensions in the project manifest and not just have them as separate files that are detectable by the toolchain or any other toolchain?
Yeah, so if you look at other project manifests that exist, they typically have one root file that links you to the others. And I think a good reason for doing this is so that you can have maybe different configurations set up. And so if you wanted to have like a build prod or a build debug, you could register them in different root manifests. And yeah, the only other way to do that would be through CLI options. But CLI options are hard because that's not really driven via code, I guess you could say. So, or maybe it is, but yeah, I was thinking that having everything in the root manifest makes it the most reproducible and portable on other people's setups.
Mm, I think I get the idea, but I'm just having trouble visualizing the actual practical implementation because you could just look at what the files are in the directory. I guess it would make a bit more sense if these were like hard-coded manifest types, but if this extension manifests can be of any type, for any toolchain, then I don't think it does too much to have them specified in the main manifest. It's not like you need to validate something or discover that through that way. Or I'm not sure. Yeah, maybe not.
So, do you like the schema below where you have like build and infra and deploy and meta?
Actually, no. Because in most projects I used to work in, the idea was to have just a single. Usually, you would just have a single manifest or configuration per environment at the same time in a project. So, like locally, you would have either local host or dev. On production, you would have prod, and then you would just have CLI that gets that manifest or configuration file from somewhere on that particular environment. There was no need to have different configurations at the same time.
Okay, got it. So we could get rid of this whole thing and just use CLI arguments.
Yeah. Why do we need a CLI arguments? Is it just for like overriding the default one, or uh,
No, I think that Yuri was proposing that we don't specify extensions inside of the manifest, and instead we specify them through the command line.
Oh no, I was just trying to say that maybe we don't need them here at all and just have them in the directory. They're discoverable through the directory. We need to specify them anywhere.
Okay, got it.
Just like you don't need to specify the project manifest anywhere. It's assumed, right? Uh,
Well, yeah, but you do pass in a path to it in the command line as well, like because I think that the goal is to also be able to have them named different as well, like um you know I don't know, yeah.
Honestly, I think I would keep the extensions here just because we can look at the manifest, at the main manifest, and confirm what the extensions are. At least for right now. I'm kind of leaning towards that. Or we can, think about it a bit more and see the pros and cons.
Yeah, I'm also leaning towards it as well. And the main question I have is, should it be an array or should it be a series of keys like it is below? Like, which option do you guys think is the best?
I think it actually depends. So I wouldn't have debug and release, but the question for me would be to use build and infra and deploy, or just have it be an array. And I think the question to ask there is whether or not these are always required, right? Because if they are, it kind of makes sense. If they're part of the wrapper manifest, then it makes sense that you have them as keys. But if they're just extensions that can be added and will, then so if they're optional, to maybe have them as just an array.
I there might be a case where a project type requires a certain type of extension, maybe for like a certain type of operation. I'm not sure. Um, and I also like having them have keys. Having extensions.build because it's easy to just get that one manifest. Whereas if you wanted to get the build manifest from the array, you would have to, basically parse each of these files and see which one is which. So, yeah, I kind of like having the keys better, so you can explicitly say that this is the build manifest.
Yeah, now that I think about it more, even if we had just them as an array of extensions, we might as well not have them here and just have them inside of the directory, because it's not like you need them when validating the wrapper manifest, technically. Yeah, I'm also definitely leaning towards keys, because then you could buy the version of the... Wait, this doesn't have a version of the manifest anywhere?
Oh yeah, that is a mistake, I think. Can you scroll down? Um, it should say, yeah, I'm not sure. I think that the version of the manifest is maybe the tool chain. Um, hmm. Yeah, no, that should be separate. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, these all need, I think, a manifest version for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so too. And then with the version and type, you could just get the structure of that. So you would know, hey, the build is required, infra is not required, deploy is not required, things like that. So yeah, I'm definitely leaning having them as keys. At least for the toolchain defined extensions. But for user defined extensions, we could either add a specific extensions key that has an array, or even just leave it up to the project to define that as unconnected files, their own manifest. Kind of like you have the manifest for, let's say, CI workflows, JS CI, release CI. You also have for other CIs, you where CI. Depends on the project.
Okay, and one last question I want to ask is, which parts of this whole thing are necessary for alpha? Because I don't know if the project manifest part is, but maybe the build artifact part is, with like the module.wrap, like the package manifest. Yeah, like which part of this is really necessary for alpha?
I think the build artifacts are definitely more required for alpha than, there's more breaking changes. But again, this all depends on how you define alpha. I think after this we could have very quickly different breaking changes inside of the package, inside of the build artifact, so it might not matter too much. I think the way we defined alpha was polishing what we currently have, and we don't currently have inline schema or type info, and we don't have type info, we just have schema.
Yeah, and also another point there is that we don't even really use the schema in the package right now in the client.
Yeah.
So there's nothing in the client that uses the schema in the package. And then additionally, we could make it so that it doesn't even have to look up the polywrap.yaml manifest, because we know that it is going to invoke the module.wasm file. So we could basically make the current client for alpha not use anything but the module.wasm file.
Yeah, that's something I brought up a while ago, alongside checking if a file exists or typing. So yeah, I definitely agree. But as far as the build artifacts are concerned, yeah, I did bring up some comments here, like
Okay. So for me, I feel a lot more at ease with this because we have identified a way to launch alpha without having to necessarily implement this right now, and still be pretty future proof. And then I think there's definitely some more pieces of feedback here that we need to go through because we left a lot of comments, and so I think that we probably need to create a new draft of this, with just like some minor changes. Yeah, that's where I'm currently sitting at with everything. Does anyone else have any other thoughts or concerns with this?
Yeah, I don't have any major concern, but yeah, I just want to ask that is naming this ABI file module.rep appropriate, because uh, I I know that in future we want to have our own SDL, and we were also planning to name that file.rep.
Ooh, that's a really good point. Um, yeah, I'm not sure. Yes, but I definitely agree with you that that is a big conflict. Thank you for bringing that up.
So technically we have the schema here as a type in. There will be no need for a separate schema.
Yeah, I am talking about the SDL. So users won't be writing the type info, right? They will be writing in the schema definition language.
Okay, so yeah, you're talking about the project. So in the project, it will be named schema.wrap.
Right. So maybe it would be, like dot bin or like dot wrap info or something like that. Like, yeah, some other extension to represent it being like a package artifact. Yeah, I'm
Or
not
the
sure.
schema could be maybe module.schema or something. Although schema doesn't
Yeah,
find,
I don't.
but never mind.
Okay, but yeah, that's a great point, Niraj. Okay, so yeah, I think we've gathered a lot of feedback here, and we have enough to take this back, redesign it a little bit, and then also to move forward with alpha pretty confidently, knowing that we can introduce this in the future. So I think that this was definitely very successful. And any other points of feedback or concern that anyone wants to bring up? All right, cool.
Yeah, this is not related to the standard per se, but I'm just wondering, just to confirm, and I think the answer is yes. We will remove, like, we will like have the before alpha. We will remove all the pre-alpha, and only the last manifest will be the one with a new name, right? I don't know, 0.0.1, if that makes sense. Regarding the manifest, we currently have.
Yep. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
great.
Right. So we have about 9 minutes left here. Um, do we want to decide what breakout sessions we're going to have on Friday? And I can get those set up.
So I wanted to say that I think that in general, Friday meetings, at least for me, and probably for Caesar as well in Europe, are at a time where it's a bit difficult. So if we could maybe for next week try to reschedule that, it would be cool.
Okay. I think when Eugene returns to the office next, well, I'll put that on the agenda for next week's meeting, and we can discuss, when we want to have our breakout sessions if it's not on Fridays. Do we want to skip this week? Is that what we're recommending?
No, 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 no. I was
Okay.
just bringing it up. Yeah.
So I know, Jordan, you wanted to move up the ski build artifact, but I see that only you are on this. Does anybody want to help with this as well?
Yeah, so I think that this one has actually started to become the same as the restructuring manifest file names.
Okay.
So if you just want to add Yuri to this one as well, like Yuri and Caesar,
Okay.
and we can tackle these both simultaneously, I think.
Okay.
And a quick question for Nestor: would it be helpful if we moved the workshop 2 hours earlier? Because it looks pretty open on my calendar. I'm not sure if it's open on yours too.
Definitely. Yeah, it'd be
Yeah,
much,
that
much
would
better for
be
me.
much better, Steve.
Would an hour work? I can do 2 hours.
Sure. Like even an hour is a bit better. Yeah.
Okay, but if 2 hours is much better, then I don't want to keep it.
Yeah, Yeah, no, I mean, for this week in particular, like I don't have any strong needs or opinions. Just bringing it up for the long term, you know.
Okay, got
Yeah,
it.
Okay.
I
So
also have.
go ahead.
Yeah, since can we have some time between the two workshop? Like instead of having this back to back, I think it would be better to have some buffer between those.
You mean specifically for this week or in general the workshops?
Yeah, in general for workshops.
Yeah, I'm also down with
Yeah,
two.
yeah, I agree. The 2 hour long one is a bit hard.
It's too long. Okay. I'll put that on the agenda for next week for sure. And then this week I'll send out one hour workshop for an hour earlier than it's currently scheduled for.
Okay, cool. And do you have permissions to modify the calendar, Jeff?
I don't think I do. So if you could invite me with permissions, then I'll update the calendar.
Yep, sure thing, will do.
All right, great, great. Well, we have 5 more minutes. Is there anything else we'd like to discuss? Or you
Yeah,
want
I just wanted to say in terms of high priority features that I think we should workshop, I think that, what we talked about today is a good one that needs to be further fleshed out.
Mm-hmm.
And then I also think, since the Python client has started its development, we should, start, really looking into what's needed there to, create a test harness and stuff like that for the JavaScript and the Python client. So I think that both of those are two high priority ones.
And that
Yeah,
doesn't fall.
I'm
So
really
those are.
excited.
So that's new, right? I don't see those here.
It's the multi-client one at the top. No,
This one
it's
here.
both of the critical ones. Yeah, yeah. So all three of those critical ones. Yep.
Okay. And we're going to
Yeah,
have a
and
workshop for
I
these two, or do we want to try to have a workshop for all three on Friday?
I think that those two can be grouped into one.
Yeah.
Those top two.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then yeah, and maybe simultaneously we could have a workshop for the multi-client or something. I'm not sure because it's different people pretty
Right. That's
much
what I'm
that are
thinking.
involved. I think.
Maybe during that
I'm on both
hour.
of those.
I'm sorry, I
Oh
didn't
yeah,
catch you.
but
Oh yeah.
Yuri is involved in both.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, by the way, number 41. We do we still need that?
I
No.
think not. Yeah, no, that was like the first iteration of the only model, if I recall correctly.
Yeah, yeah. So we can just delete that. Yeah.
We just add a new option. Instead of deleting it, I'll just leave it there. So for posterity, and we'll remove it from the board here.
Sounds great.
All right. All right.
I know that Niraj was trying to say something a little bit
Yeah.
ago. Did were you able to say what you wanted to say, Niraj?
Oh yeah, since you are like talking about Python client, I just wanted to say like super excited about that. And yeah, if the work has already started, can you point me to the branch or something? I would like to look into that.
Yeah, definitely. So the way that PWV works is that they work in a private branch, or like they basically pull the repository into Bitbucket, and then they're gonna push it to our repositories soon as a new branch. And so let me just I'll message the developer today and say, hey, some of our developers really want to look at it. Can you please, do that cross push? So I'll ask him to do that today.
Yeah, no hurry.
Okay, great. Well, we're at time. Thank you everybody for your time today. This was a very productive meeting, and I appreciate your continued contributions.
Same to you, Joe. Thanks so much, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.